How you doing, sir? Good to see you. Chairman, how you doing? I'm good, sir. How you doing? Permanent Secretary, Mr. Sansa Bennett Templar, Permanent Secretary, Mr. Danville Walker, Chairman of the Trade Board Limited, Dr. Major, retired Hugh Blake, Trade Administrator and Chief Executive Officer of the Jamaica Trade Board. Mr. Thwaites is represented today by the intrepid Mr. Stephen Dawkins. Stephen is all over the place and visiting bus stops in foreign countries. Of course, the indomitable Mrs. Valerie Vieira from JBDC, a walking around institution herself. Miss Shanique Edwards, who is representing Gillette today. I see board member, Mr. Nita is here from JBDC, and other boards I know he's on. It's JCESA as well, right? You're on JCESA board and JBDC. The management and staff of the Jamaica Trade Board Limited. Congrats to you all, media practitioners and very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, and Mr. Mills. Really. His presentation was robust and really deep. The kind of work, I had the privilege of seeing a preview with this with the chairman and Dr. Blake and the PS myself, and to see what you've done with this since then. It was then quite impressive what you've done with this. The collaboration that we talked about, you obviously have followed. What you presented is impressive, and when you can get Dawkins to say it is impressive, I mean Mr. Dawkins, of course, and that he's ready to use it, it's amazing. But what makes me excited, oh, and I see Dana here as well. Dana used to run the ganja business. Sorry, I mean she was the head of the CLA. My CTD, Mrs. Dawkins, Mrs. Franklin is here with us. But when I see the collaboration, when I started to take over this ministry in early 2022, and I had the first meeting of the agencies, and I don't go soft on anything. When I'm playing tennis and you're on the other side, you're the opponent. My son learned that the hard way, that he has to be an opponent. So when time came and he went to high school, he decided to learn rugby. He said, well, Dad can't play this. I'm not going to play any more tennis with him. Because I go hard. But, so when I had that first meeting, and I came out with the idea that we must collaborate more, get out of our silos, and make sure the amazing intelligence and experience and training that resides in our 20 agencies must be used across the board. I've seen it before, but Mr. Mills, you've done a tremendous job. And give him a round of, I mean, it's not just him. It's a lot of people who work with him. But I know that he was the head of the spear on this one. And the product that you produce is really outstanding. When I say one thing though, the creator of the logo and the symbol of the board, and it's Professor Dr. Retired Major Hugh. You see that logo? It must not change. Every single time you see Amazon or ExxonMobil, it doesn't change. The color doesn't change, the format doesn't change, nothing is changed about it. So how did this come up? Here is your launch. And I'm like this, my agencies now get used to me. This is the logo right up here. Very nice. That was agreed by everybody. But in here, so, Export Jamaica, what is that? That's not the logo. Your launch. And this wording beside it really masks the whole Export Jamaica thing. It's the same wording. It doesn't stand out. And all you have to do is use the logo and make sure it is consistent. Anywhere Export Jamaica is associated with the trade board, that is what must be seen. That is the logo of the, right, Mr. Mills? You and the guys who make this on computer, make sure it's consistent. Otherwise, you lose the effect of it. And what you've done is so good. I mean, 190 countries, the blacklist, the kind of detail you do to get into there. Make sure, though, Dr. Blake, that we are really selling this on social media, everywhere you go, constantly on social media, to make sure the MSME use it. Get Wignall and his group and everybody else to make sure they push it, because they're the ones who use it best. I'm telling you, you don't have to tell Grace, and Mr. Dawkins is here. He runs export for Wisconsin. You don't have to worry about them. They're going to use it ad nauseum. But the 150 exporters that I want to see turned into 300 exporters, because while Saudi Arabia has 2 exporters, Aramco and another one, maybe 3, them don't need more than 2. Them have 1 major product and everybody wants it. We have a measure of a plethora. No, me can't use them kind of word that Miss Valerie used. Me have to say whole heap. There's a whole heap of exporters we need. You know, she sends me notes and say, hey, what about this word? Me said, what? I'm not from Uptown, Valerie. You can't put them things in my mouth. We can't use them. So plethora is one of them. As the Minister of Industry, Investment and Commerce, Jamaica's business ministry, I'm delighted to participate in this historic event. It really is. The unveiling of the Export Jamaica platform. Young man, very happy to see you. Make sure you're branded quietly. You can't take the brand off because JIPO is our agency. When you go up there, you're going to turn your back. But you can say, I did it. A groundbreaking global market intelligence and compliance gateway. JAMPRO is doing the business gateway. Trade Board is doing the market intelligence and compliance gateway. Whole heap of gateways to come into Jamaica, and more will be coming. And Janak is over there certifying everybody to make sure they use the gateway. We have Export Jamaica is another major achievement for the Jamaica Trade Board Limited, an agency fueled and committed to the pursuit of excellence under Jamaica's business ministry. Our vision, oh, and Dr. Vetton is here. He has gateways for testing and certifying, and every week I get a new one that he's setting up a new standard. Wonderful. Want to make sure a country run by high standards so that when people see products from Jamaica, they know it is meeting high standards. Our vision for the platform is clear: to lead in the provision of vital market intelligence that plays a pivotal role in supporting Jamaican businesses as they ambitiously expand into markets around the world. Or on several occasions in various spaces and events, I have emphasized that micro, small and medium enterprises, MSME, must seek to build their wealth by selling their goods and services to overseas markets rather than relying solely on Jamaican markets. It is imperative that large companies support smaller companies. When you go away, Stephen Dawkins, and you see you're selling whatever you're selling, mainly beverages and similar stuff, but you see somebody really wants sauce, or somebody who sells sauce, or somebody who wants uniforms in the region. You said, well, you know, don't just say this is not my business. I want big companies, because you're going to travel, you travel a lot. Those small companies can't travel, but you can identify. And you're the vice president, luckily, of JMEA, so you can come back and find a company that does that. That's why they have vice president, because them know, so you're traveling, you get big salary, and them can't go. So You think them vote for you for just because of your looks? I mean, you're good looking, but that's not the point. So, big companies must find ways to help MSMEs. And this is a good way. Yes, you must, and you're going to hear me say this all the time. I just came back from just now. I just left JSIF, I do a whole speech, so the name them get me. It's JSIF. JSIF having a seminar for contractors. And I out there and I preach the message. I say you make sure your choice of contractors is fair and transparent. Make sure when you choose them, you pay them. Because some seem to be preferred and get their payment on time or ahead of time, and some can't get them payment. And then you say, oh, they must do more work. Well, you haven't given them the cash flow to work. As I may tell them, and as I may tell you too, because television is right here. I wanted to do our own. We must make sure things are fair for everybody in this country. Everybody, and it's not just the government must be fair. We must be fair because we're the government. And when we're not, we're held to be accountable. But big companies must also be purposeful. You're going to spend 50 million this year, or you're going to spend 1.5 billion Jamaican this year. How much of that spend in your boardroom are you saying must be spent in Jamaica purposefully? If you don't purpose to sell, to spend your money in Jamaica, you're going to spend it somewhere else. So get purpose and make sure your budget, clearly you're going to import a whole bunch of stuff. That's why we have the trade board. We know you're going to import. But how much have you purposed in your company that this must be spent in Jamaica? And when you do that, you go and find suppliers. You help suppliers like Toyota help their engineers. Which engineers? They never have mechanics when they start. Then buy place and put in machine and get mechanics and then make mistakes. But Toyota, when them do the work for Toyota, pay themselves for the machines that they give them. We in Jamaica must understand that when you build MSMEs as big companies, those are the people who buy your products. There are 425,000 MSME registered in Jamaica. Where do you think the people work? Them can't all work at Wisynco and Grace and Jamaica Brothers Group or NCB. They work at MSMEs. So big companies, it's in your interest to help small companies to grow. Small companies, it is your responsibility to make sure you're efficient and you're creating good products. And this product here, Export Jamaica, is one of them that will help you. So, you go around Grace, you go around Wisynco, you go around CPJ, you go around NCB, and you see they're doing things that really, if you think you and your partners together, some bright young people and some experienced people with some money, get together and say, why is NCB keep doing that? Why is Wisynco doing this? Let us put a company together. Go and see Mr. Mahfood at Wisynco and say, we know you do this thing well. We know you're Wisynco. But you know something? We have a plan. We can do it better and more efficiently. And here's the cost. You go and do drinks and send Mr. Dawkins not to bus stops, but to fine hotels. And let us do... He does go to fine hotels. He's traveled with me, I know that. I have to say, well, P.S., why Mr. Dawkins in that hotel and your minister is in this hotel? But the point is, we must make sure that as we build a Jamaica that builds Jamaicans, ordinary Jamaicans, this is one portal that the government is doing. Businesses must do the portal to say, I must find ways to work with the MSMEs so my economy gets stronger and more people in Jamaica buy my products and get wealthy. And when more people get employed, it's a funny thing, crime goes down. It's not a lie, it's the truth. So we look for that growth and productivity. So small companies, here's another product from the government to make you more productive. You don't have to go travel and write long letters and wait for telexes, which don't exist anymore, to get information. We give it to you online. So, Mr. Mills and your team, it must be updated. I see some things are daily. It must be robust. It must be reliably, relentlessly reliable. so that every time you go on it must go up. If your power no work, get a generator so that the system no go down. Because the moment it goes down, reliability gets a hit. It's doubted after that. So you make sure that the portal provided by the Trade Board gives MSME a huge boost in achieving this objective. It's a solid example of one political plug I get for each speech. It's a solid example of the Andrew Holness administration's commitment to helping businesses grow. And no matter take me on, just leave me alone. In October 2023, the unemployment stood at a historic 4.2%, lowest we ever had in our history. And for about 3 years, we kept pushing down that historical low. That's good, wonderful. January, we had, from January to August in 2023, our exports grew by 29%. You know, we're starting from a small base. But when we're growing exports, and I was just listening, all of the speeches, when I came here, you know Danville. Danville is my friend, so we can call him Chairman and Danville. Danville, when we came to the ministry, for years, nobody really talked about export consistently and as a drive, and not recognizing what, if we only have 3 million people, we have limited land space, we can't expand it, so where are we going to get more growth? Through exports. Because, you know, we're not like in Europe where you can invade anybody. We don't have anybody to invade. So we have to go and negotiate new markets. So we have to make sure that we export. So export is growing. But boy, we have a far way to go, because it's 61 years out of the 62 years that we're independent. 61 of them, we've had negative trade balances. And the last positive one was in 1966. We have to keep exporting. So big exporters find ones for the small ones as well. More of these successes must reach ordinary people. I was just talking at JSIF, and JSIF is out there building schools, building water systems, roads in communities where ordinary people, some of them men and women, get the work and the money gets into their pockets. We need Stephen from the JMA to make sure the MSMEs all over the country, and you know the road shows we've had, you've been out there with us, get that business and grow their business so ordinary Jamaicans, a lot more, can feel the benefit that we talk about from 4.2% unemployment and so on. Right now, we need to get that out to Jamaicans. JBDC is doing a great job in terms of getting many more ordinary people who would not be in business getting involved in business. Tools such as Export Jamaica, this one, aim to assist our businesses with accessing markets across the globe. And I want us to change our focus. I like Coronation Market. I like the market in Newmarket in St. Elizabeth. I want the markets in Dubai and New York and Baltimore and Atlanta and Paris. There's all them high market city there that Stephen Dawkins goes to. Export will enable local MSMEs to unlock and take advantage of better business opportunities. And again, big exporters help MSMEs. Help them. You're helping yourself when you're building the Jamaican market. So this is how Export Jamaica will help or MSMEs. You heard a lot of it. It will assess business to identifying the right target country, forge meaningful connections that transcends borders, a whole heap of them, but it also help customs duties calculator. You have a calculator to calculate your customs duty. You don't have to go worry your head anymore. Mr. Mills and his team just make it easy for you, like your mortgage calculator that Jane and others will give you on VM. Landed cost calculator. Understand how to get that done quickly. Selling price calculator. In other words, this is about trade. Our calculators are there to help you do trade. Calculate your duties. Calculate your landed cost. Calculate your selling price. Your measurement converter. Seamlessly convert units from no matter from what you want now is kg and km. Okay, currency converter. Stay up to date. How much Jamaican dollars you need to buy a Trinidadian dollar and so on. This platform will transform how you conduct business locally and globally. I encourage all businesses, irrespective of the size or niche you're in, to embrace the potential of Export Jamaica. Sell it everywhere. I'm going to make sure, Roxanne, make sure it's in my speech everywhere. Somewhere, I'm going to sell it. And that too, two things must be in there. The business gateway from JAMPRO and the Export Jamaica from the Trade Board. And as we build, we add more to it. Make a strategic investment in your businesses and focus on the production of high quality products and services that possess the inherent appeal to captivate international markets. Not just products, although Trade Board is about products, but I have to add services because I'm looking at the full economy. So make sure you put in high quality. Make sure anything you do is excellent. Make sure your packaging is outstanding, very attractive. If the packaging not right, I used to tell my seminars when I used to do seminars that, you know, I worked at Bloomingdale's in the heyday when I was at business school, the summer. And boy, that time Bloomingdale's was booming. They packaged, I remember they had something called Amos cookies. And this guy make cookies in his house and put it in a brown bag. And people used to line up outside Bloomingdale's for weeks after weeks to get Amos cookies. Famous Amos, that's the one. Right, and so it's ordinary cookie. So I always said, look, and when Monet, a brand called Monet, make jewelry, came out, they're not real jewelry, they're fancy costume jewelry. Thank you very much, Valerie, and the other women. Fancy costume jewelry. Well, Monet, M-O-N-E-T, packaged its jewelry so that Saks and Bergdorf Goodman and Bloomingdale's have it right in the front of the store. And it just reminded me that if you put a wonderful diamond in a piece of old coconut shell, trash and throw it before the Trade Board, everybody kick it and leave it alone. And you put a piece of brass that you shine up pretty and put it in a package, and you put it in Bloomingdale's and they pay you for a whole lot of money for it. Packaging is important. So make sure as we look at the world market, and I encourage you to go to the world market, you are recognizing that how you present your stuff is vitally important. So, no longer just a regulator, Mr. Trade Board, but active facilitator and enabler of trade. Trade Board, do make sure you constantly upgrade your online Export Jamaica portal. Constantly upgrade so that it becomes relentlessly reliable and very, very robust. The Jamaica Trade Board's adoption of a new name and logo serves as a laudable testament to their commitment to fortifying trade services with Jamaican businesses. This strategic rebranding initiative represents more than a symbolic change. It signifies a profound dedication to adapting and enhancing trade services to meet the evolving needs of the business community. When I went to NCB, they were importing uniforms. I say I'm not signing anymore to go overseas. It was to our biggest trading partner. Oh, but they don't do the uniforms nice. I said, what nonsense. When they got the uniforms, you know who repaired them? The Jamaican seamstresses. So I said, no, I'm not signing anymore. So we called 3 people from the JEA at the time. Doreen Frankson was the head of it. And JMA, right, JMA. And she sent me 3. We chose one. Today the rest is history. It's Mark Design. Mark Design, Miss Nicely had 2 sons. She had it in her house for 15 square meters in a residential area. Shouldn't be. So they could have kicked her out anytime. And we bring her in. Why you didn't deal with NCB before? Well, she didn't want to tell me. Says, but you can tell me. I'm new to Jamaica. I don't know all of them. So tell me. And she tells me. She said, well, they used to lock me out. And when them give me a contract, they give me a 1-year contract. I can't do anything with that. Can't buy equipment, nothing. So after we did, I said, give her a 5-year contract for $80 million. She couldn't believe it. But I say, we at NCB will finance the equipment. We will make sure we get paid out of when she does the uniform and we have to pay her. Today, Mark Designs operate out of a 24,000 square foot factory that employs 140 people and exports to 13 different countries. That's a success story. But that's because a big company decided to help and use a small Jamaican company that had to get their help, but now everybody is better off. Export Jamaica. Go forth and do likewise. Thank you very much.